going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Now, what is this craziness, this madness of two back-to-back videos? Well, in yesterday's video, hopefully you guys did actually watch the video and not just read the title, because I was explaining how absurd it would be for BlackRock to actually be shorting Bitcoin at these levels. And yes, of course, while there is that possibility of maintaining within the range, we do have something that we have to talk about. This is something that does not happen very often for Bitcoin, but when it does, it usually has massive, massive ripple effects across the market. Now, just a quick note of what is going on with Bitcoin right now. We did have Bitcoin get all the way down as low as around 66,000 roughly dollars, but you can see right here, we are having this bounce, but the issue is that we're not only running into this, sideways resistance, but also we had this holding us as support. So we actually have two resistances coming up on us right now. So it's actually a pretty make or break moment, at least within the short term for Bitcoin. Now, also on top of that, you may have seen the fact that apparently the Bitcoin miners have been cashing in on this rally as exchange transfers have hit a 2-month high. So among these sellers, Marathon Digital, very, very large Bitcoin mining operation, offloading around 1,400 Bitcoin, worth nearly 100 million since the start of this month. So you're probably saying to yourself, well, this is not good if the miners are selling, right? They're going to be suppressing the price. They're going to be holding us down. Well, what's actually hilarious is what we have to go into today has exactly everything to do with what happens when the miners are in this exact scenario. And we do have a signal, a very, very rare, but very good, and honestly, it's been pretty accurate for the most part, signal that has been flashing, and we got to go over that today. So guys, if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you're not subscribed, well, you're probably missing out, because I think, well, I have a hunch it's about to get pretty interesting very soon. You may start seeing a lot more videos from me, and that's usually a good thing, right? So having a look right here, I do just want to point out, again, for everyone who's looking to get in on this free Meta Signals access, they are still running their 14-day free trial, okay? So you guys can pretty much sign up, get these alerts absolutely for free, risk-free, and if you guys do want to get 20% off for life, use code ZOMBIE, all caps, ZOMBI. Zombie at checkout will get you 20% off for life. Obviously, 2 weeks for free. So let me start here, because I can already hear the comments. Lots of people, they like to type the comments before they even watch the video, and they start, saying, oh, this and that. I'm like, you gotta watch the video, guys. There's so much more to go over. So something that we could say had an effect, let's be honest, was the fact that we did have the CPI data, Consumer Price Index, showing that inflation grew by 3.3% year over year. So this is down, right, from the 3.4% rate that was in April. So, well, why is this a good thing? Well, economists and analysts have been closely monitoring the shelter component of CPI, as housing costs have proven to be a stubborn source of inflationary pressure. Many expert housing and rent inflation, they expect rent and inflation to ease in the coming months, which would help bring overall inflation closer to the Fed's 2% target, which probably in turn would mean rate cuts. And yeah, you can argue historically rate cuts usually happen at really bad times or whatever. But guys, for the most part, as we've been saying on this channel, the money printer will go burr. And when the money printer will go burr, which it will, Bitcoin will rise, right? That's exactly what happens, because Bitcoin is that hedge against inflation. Also, not to mention the fact that you're seeing more and more countries drop the dollar as the BRICS nations, start to basically do their own thing. And that is maybe not great for the dollar, but it definitely, in turn, is honestly providing a lot more confidence for Bitcoin. Let's just be honest. I mean, it is what it is. A lot more people every day come out, these naysayers, people who are skeptic. Every single day you see someone. I mean, Michael Saylor himself in 2013 thought Bitcoin was a scam, right? Donald Trump said Bitcoin was nothing but, hot air or something like that. And now even they're looking to be a little bit more, well, Michael Saylor's extremely bullish on Bitcoin. But so let me dive in and let's talk about what's going on. So if you guys are following me over on Twitter, yesterday, I basically just did a look at this smirk face, okay? And I think everyone in the comments knew what I was hinting at. 67.2 million USDC transferred from unknown wallet to Coinbase institutional. Now, usually when you see these massive inflows of stablecoins, it usually means that they're getting that dry powder ready. They are looking to buy the dip, right? And that's kind of what we were hinting at. Now, yes, there still is that possibility we stay range bound. No one's saying we're going to have a blue sky breakout today. But when you see these charts, you're going to understand why. As soon as we do, it's going to be incredible. So let me just make this video a little bit short for you guys. Obviously, I don't want to drag this on. I want to talk about what is happening in the chart. So yes, we do have some short-term resistance. I'm not going to sugarcoat that, okay? But what we are doing is we had this parallel channel. Yes, we've had a little bit of a, a sort of a bear trap. You could say this was a major, I suppose, bull trap, really, but, ultimately it wasn't because we're basically back at those levels if you were patient enough. But this is an ascending channel. And if we zoom in right here, you can see that we're currently hitting the top of that channel, right? So obviously we are not out of the woods just yet. But as I was saying, once you start to break above these EMA ribbons, these legacy EMA ribbons, you hold above them for a very long time. You tend to sort of dance around them in the beginning, then they start to act as support, and eventually you just parabolically lift off of it, right? And then again, once you start to get back into it, okay, that's when we need to start worrying. Well, we are somewhere, I believe, in this area right here. If you zoom in over where we are right now, you can see that we've had one touch, we've had two touches, and another thing to point is if you look at this weekly, we had a perfect retest on this downwards trend as the money flow is potentially starting to increase. Now, it has decreased slightly, and we did talk about how sometimes in summer you see things go a little bit sideways. There's a little bit less exuberance when it comes to price action. But if I actually zoom in here a little bit closer, let me actually, well, my line is still here, but look, if I switch this to the daily, you can see this as clear as day, guys. Look at this, right? So what did we have here? We had resistance. We come down here. We had resistance, but what happened? Once we broke above, it acted as support, right? Yeah, we wicked below it, but we closed above it, and look at this, guys, a perfect retest. I mean, you could have literally just blindly put in a trade basically at those levels and you would have got that perfectly, which, by the way, guys, if you are looking to trade, make sure that you check the links below in the description. We have over $70,000 in bonuses. Some of the best right now are running on LevX. Probably LevX has the best bonus, and Blowfin as well. Blowfin is a really awesome up-and-coming exchange. Definitely check that out. There's a link popping above if you guys want to learn how to trade. I'll make more of those tutorials, but if you have had a keen eye, you might know where I'm going with this. And yes, my friends, this relates back to the miners. What do we have right here? We have miner capitulation. You see this red right here? Now, you may be saying, well, what does this mean? This means that they're selling. This is bad. It's in the red. Okay, well, let's take this back. Let's go historically. Let's see what happens. Well, first what happens is you get these capitulations, right? And eventually they lead into these buy signals. So this is not saying that right now, immediately, as I'm making this video, ultimately that Bitcoin is going to go to the moon. But let's just have a look at some of the last times that we actually got these buy signals, right? So this last signal was right around here. Was this a good buy? Well, I mean, from that buy signal, let's be realistic, Bitcoin fell about 20%. Okay, but from that signal after we fell, the next high went up about 240%. So we'll kind of take this first signal with a grain of salt. Let's keep having a look right here. Let's see what's going on. So here's the next buy signal, right? Right here. Okay, we had a little bit of sideways. Obviously, these aren't perfect. It's not going to be like as soon as you buy, price is going to go up instantly. But what happened? Okay, price dipped about 5%, but then before reaching the next peak, price pumped 45%. I don't really think I have to do the percentages on this. You can see right here, here's the buy signal right here. That was clearly a pump. Here's the buy signal right here, a little bit sideways into a pump. Are you guys seeing what I'm saying here? Are you seeing how these signals play out pretty accurately right here? Another buy signals. Okay, you got a few, maybe a week of sideways, boom. Actually, well, that was a great buy signal. That buy signal was basically setting you up ultimately for a 235% run, okay? And we had this buy signal here, which, yes, it went up, came back down, but still ultimately went higher. And then if we go over here, you guys could see this wasn't exactly the greatest of the buy signals, let's be honest. This one was a bit of an outlier. So I'd say as of right now, we have about 2 of them, out of all of these that were iffy, but still led to runs. Okay, we have this one right here. This was mid-rally. Still had a dump, but ultimately, if you still take that from bottom to top of this move, that was still a 53% Same thing here, okay? A little bit of a dump afterwards, but ultimately brought us up to the peak where we are right now. And no, we have not had the buy signal yet, but you could see that we are in the phase like we have back here where we start to build that minor capitulation. Miners start to sell, they start to capitulate, and ultimately you get that bottom. You get that ultimate capitulation where then the price does nothing but absolutely skyrocket afterwards. So, you know, on top of that, guys, having this beautiful, beautiful retest here, getting that minor capitulation, we have not gotten the blue. We have not gotten the blue just yet, but I think you know what comes next, right? So where does this bring us? Well, it brings us slightly above the previous all-time high. So technically Bitcoin is still trading, even though everybody's, you know, freaking out, worried about this price action. What's going on? How come we're not going to the moon? We are still higher than our previous all-time high. And again, like I said in yesterday's video, perfect support on the bottom of this Pi cycle indicator, with the next target being the top of around $90,000. Now, what else does 90,000 potentially coincide with? Well, coincides with this over here, right? So we have, well, let me actually show you the, we have a target of around 1.618. Minimally, this would be like the worst case scenario for this bull run, 102,000. But, you know, let's not jump the gun here. Let's just zoom into the shorter term. You know, if we just take a simple Fibonacci retracement from the top of this move to the bottom of this move right here, look at that, guys. You're looking at about a 1.618 dead in the middle of around 85,000. So this is basically telling me that as soon as we break this, you know, because obviously the more times that you hit something, either to the top or to the bottom, you tend to break through, right? If you're like, if I was to flip this chart, if I inverted this chart right now and we were looking at Bitcoin going down instead of going up, you would think we were going to keep going down, right? Because what happens is you keep jumping on the trampoline, eventually you fall through. Well, the same thing happens with the resistance. You keep punching it, eventually you break through the ceiling. And that is when you're going to have that blue sky breakout. So, you know, I didn't want anyone to think that yesterday's video was negative. In fact, I almost have a sense of me that wishes I did not make yesterday's video, because I knew there wasn't a reason to be bearish, but when we had Bitcoin dropping yesterday 10% off the highs, I started seeing a lot of negativity out, you know, over on Twitter, out in the crypto space, and I felt like jumping in and explaining it. But honestly, we're sticking to our guns on this channel. We are in a bull run, guys. This is a bull run. There is no reason to assume that we are in a bear market. We are just having some healthy consolidation and some retests. And if the miners are selling, good, let them sell. If we get a little bit of rejection again around 70, 71,000, if I go back here and show you guys, it's fine. Right? We're still just in this range. The same way that, look, we had this upward sloping structure here, right? And we were riding on it, boom, we fell. And some people thought that was the end. We formed a giant wedge formation, we bounced back up again, same thing. We built structure back up again, and we fell down through it. And now people will be bearish. Oh my goodness, what if we go back down to 61,000? Guys, it doesn't matter if you just zoom out here. This is constructive price action. We are putting in a giant parabola, and worst case scenario, we're just range bound, putting in this giant flag. I don't think it's going to go that long, but, you know, between 61,000 and 71,000. So ultimately, you know, having a look at the CBBI historical cycles, most of these start peaking at around, you know, the 85 to 85 plus, you know, and currently in this cycle, we've only hit around 82. So that is telling me that there is still a lot more to go, and you tend to see the largest, fastest, craziest moves of the cycle happen at the later part of the cycle, right? So again, you know, I still believe that this is time for buying the dips. And I also not even just believe, I talk to people who run OTC desks, who know these guys in the ETFs, and they're telling me that every single time they have these dips, these guys are buying, okay? So, you know, these people that are calling for these massive, you know, crashes like Bitcoin used to get these 70%, 80% crashes. I believe, and from what I'm aware of with the data that people are telling me, that's not going to happen again. Okay, Bitcoin's not going to be crashing 50% tomorrow. So some of these crazy guys, I'm not going to name them, but again, people that I know, people that I've met, they're YouTubers, they're on Twitter saying we're going to go below 10,000. It's asinine. This is not going to be the Great Depression. Things like that just don't happen anymore. And for people who say, oh, they're not going to happen, guys, they have things like circuit breakers. They have things in place so that these types of scenarios don't happen. And to be honest with you, if that type of a scenario does happen, you're probably talking some kind of apocalyptic state of the world, which in that case, you're probably going to be more concerned with food, shelter, and ammunition than you are going to be with your Bitcoin. But I digress, because that's not what we're doing right now. We're just putting in healthy consolidation. So this is why I felt the need that I had to make back-to-back videos to talk about what is happening. Not much has changed. Maybe I'll make more frequent updates, because some people, they start to get bored, or they freak out or think nothing's happening. Guys, the same thing happened when Bitcoin was consolidating around 25,000. Do you remember how bored everybody was? How tired everyone was? They said, what's the point? It's never going to go back up. And what happened? As soon as you start sleeping on it, as soon as you stop paying attention, that's when we ripped all the way up to 45,000, got the ETF, fake rejection, and hit 70K. Boom. And it happened what felt like overnight. So that's it for me. Also, just to let you guys know, check out that LevX bonus, guys. LevX, amazing exchange. Also, for anyone who uses my link below, you're going to get exclusive content. They're in the process of getting that pretty much rolled out right now, so you should start seeing some of those. So if I'm not posting on Twitter, or if I'm not posting here, I will be over on LevX. It's free to join. It doesn't cost you anything, but in order to get that access, you do have to use the link below. Also, they're doing $500,000 in giveaways this month alone. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. If you do want to learn how to trade, check out these tutorials popping up right here, right now. They're a great starting point. You can practice with a paper account so you don't lose any money. You can get comfortable, learn how to do it. But ultimately, guys, that's it for me. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Until next time, stay crypto, and of course, peace out.